Panda, 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 panda. I got broads in Atlanta. Just to throw me in the family. Credit cards and the scammers. Hitting the licks in the band. Legacies.
Thanks for tuning in to the Bearded Brewers review.
Hey,
We are the Bearded Brewers. We got Debo.
I'm Al. Gorgeous George.
And today we're going to give you a review on some of our favorite local Utah beers made from Bohemian Brewery. Throughout our podcast and videos, we'll review beers, whiskeys, whatever random things we decide to find and give you guys our opinion on them. If you like it, let us know. Send us a review. Like our stuff. Follow us. All of that fun jazz.
And if there's something that you want us to review that maybe we don't know about, let us know as well. We'll throw in an email address somewhere, and we'll for those on the podcast, it's beardedbrewersbc@gmail.com. So hit us up and let us know.
So, give you a little history on us here. We are a local brew club in Salt Lake, Utah. We make home beer and home brewed beer.
Like home beer.
Home
beer's tasty.
Beer. We make home beer and home mead and
We do all kinds of things.
all kinds of things like that.
We even make cheese and grow bean trees.
Wait, we make cheese?
You didn't know that?
No, where's my
Famunda
cheese?
Got a fresh batch of Famunda cheese going for you right now. Sorry, I got us off topic.
I don't remember what I was saying or talking about.
What we do, so we're home brewers. We make beer, obviously home beer.
Home beer.
Yep.
A bunch of guys that like to get around, drink beer, talk about beer, and everything to do with the brewing and beer community out here in Salt Lake. So that's why we are focusing today on Bohemian. They are probably one of, at least my favorites, if not everybody's favorite brew pubs and breweries here in Salt Lake. If you guys haven't been to the Bohemian, I highly recommend it. Head in there, check them out. If you got time, go do a brewery tour. Maybe you'll get lucky enough to hang out with our buddy Brian. Awesome dude. Knows a lot about beer, man.
He's like Rain Man of beer. It's crazy.
All right. Well, Gorgeous, why don't you do the unveiling?
All right. So here we've got the old school brew 12er.
This consists of a 12-pack of beers, obviously. And it comes with some old school coasters. Let's show those. One got stuck. This is one of the things I really like about Bohemian.
Coasters.
If you get their cardboard boxes, we'll do a better shot of these later. You can punch them out and make a little coaster for your beer. So if you're really worried about ruining your nice bar top, if you're awesome enough to have one like we do here at the Redbeard Tavern, you can put those down there. And they also look really cool, and they have different logos for the beers that they make.
All right. So today we're looking at the Viennese lager.
We'll do a close-up of that later.
Yep.
Figured out how to do that because I'm smart. So for those listening, the Viennese lager is one of the mainstays, and it's a beautiful can. It's got a deep amber color to it. And for those who can't see the can, because you're listening to the podcast, I like it too, the Bohemian. They put all the different ways to say beer. There's a couple characters I don't know. But it's kind of cool.
Speak Chinese?
Nope.
Or whatever that one is?
Nope, I don't know. I think one of them's Russian. I'm pretty sure of that. So they're awesome.
We got beer. We got beer. We got brewski. We have. I don't know.
Oh yeah, there's brewski.
Bira, cerveza.
Cerveza. I know that one. Uno más cerveza, por favor.
I was mostly asking if it was Russian.
Oh.
No, there is Russian.
It's that
this one,
yeah.
but I don't remember.
I nailed it.
I don't remember the
Nailed it.
alphabet.
So we cracked them open already. We don't have a glass because we're cheap and lazy. But if you do have a glass, I'm going to go ahead and recommend this guy right here. If you don't have one, go out and buy one. These are awesome mugs. It's by Stanley. They keep your colds and your hot. They're great, and it's 16 ounces, so pick one up.
Great for the hot days, brewing beer in the sun, or in the garage when you got the heaters burning and it's nice and warm in there.
Yeah.
Keeps your beer nice and cold, fresh out of the keg, cold beer. It's nice.
Can't go wrong with it.
Recommend it.
So let's talk about the beer, guys. So what is it that we're drinking? The Viennese lager, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Everything that the Bohemian puts out is the traditional Czech style lagers. So it's all brewed in that old fashioned style.
What just happened?
I don't know.
I was adjusting my shirt and it got dark. All right, so it's a Czech style lager, as Debo mentioned, but I don't know what happened to the video. And all their beers are the traditional Czech style lagers. Take it away.
I don't remember what I was talking about.
We were talking about the beer.
Yeah.
It's a Viennese lager. Go ahead.
Viennese lager, so Viennese, Vienna, Austria. So it's coming from Austria. Originally, this specific style, but they do brew it with the same.
The
it's all the same
old
region.
style. Yeah.
And that's what's nice. And one day we'll hopefully get Brian out here. When we talked to him, when we did our tour, he was extremely thorough in the explanation about how they make their beer. And as Gord just said, they are very traditional, and they are so traditional to the fact that their mashing step process is the old school way, I guess is how you'd say that. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's stepped and it's temperature controlled to like the T. I mean, it's insane how much. What's what I'm looking for?
Precision.
Precision. Yeah, the precision that they put into how they make their beer, and it shows. It tastes that way. I mean, in my opinion, you can't get a better lager here in the States. I haven't had lagers outside of the U.S. Except for when I was in Mexico.
This one in particular is probably one of their highest sellers, according to a couple of the bartenders and stuff I've talked to. Like, it's an all-time favorite for a lot of people, including one of my good friends, Neff. He's also been a part of the Bearded Brewers, and he was telling me the other day he went up to Oktoberfest, and he's like, I'm looking at all the different beers they have at Oktoberfest, and because up here in Salt Lake, Snowbird, or one of our big resorts, does a pretty awesome Oktoberfest style.
Yeah.
And he's going through, looking, and he's like, why veer from my favorite? Like, most people have a beer they really like, or, this style's really good.
Oh, yeah, we all have
He's
one.
like, no, Viennese lager from Bohemian. He's like, that's my beer. So he went and bought a big old tall boy of Viennese lager, and
it's just peanut butter and jam, man.
It's the only beer.
That's what he goes to. I mean, that's how I think you've done it as a brewery. Is you have a beer that you can keep as a mainstay, which they do. They've got a couple mainstays we'll talk about. I love this beer and hate this beer at the same time because, again, I've always got a complaint. I've always got one. The one complaint I got is depending on when this beer was made, it'll taste like the can. And that's the one thing about these. But if you go to the brewery and have it fresh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But outside, and this one isn't a bad batch. This one I don't taste the metal.
Yeah, I know they updated their canning system last year or so, and ever since then I've noticed a little bit better flavorings coming through too. So that might be part of it.
That could be it.
Upgrade in quality. But.
Whoa, yeah, your face. So let's talk a little bit about. It's good, isn't it?
It's good beer.
It's not a heavy lager, which I really like about it. You can drink quite a few of these and not feel bloated and have beer belly, which is. If you've ever had it, you know what I'm talking about. If not, Google it, and it's not what you Google.
or go buy a big pack of big heavy beers.
There you go.
Drink them all.
Good luck. I dare you. You can't do it. That's a guarantee. But you can sit back and drink a 12-pack of Viennese. I mean, I did it. Actually, that was the first brewery in Utah that I ever went to. We came back, and I think I told you this story. I don't know if I told you this story. I know I haven't told you guys this story. But it was 2012, and we came back for Christmas, and we were visiting my buddy Strat, who's also a brewer, but he brews wine. He said, let's go to the Bohemian. So I go to the Bohemian. It's my first time, and I'm looking at all the different styles of beers they have, or types. It's all the same style. And I said, well, what should I have? I don't know what to have. He recommends the Viennese lager. I was like, okay. So I tell the lady I want the Viennese lager. What size? I have options? I didn't know this. So I was thinking I was going to get a pint. No, I could have a pint. I could have the lovely or the manly. So I was like, I guess I'll do the lovely. And my buddy Strat yells at me, don't do that. Be a man. Get a manly. So I get a manly, and it's like, what, 32 ounces?
24 ounces.
24 ounces of beer.
The legal amount they can give you at one time.
In Utah, of course. So I pound it. I pound one of those, and I pound another one of those, and then I eventually go to a lovely. So I'm like, 3 beers deep at this point. And he said, you know what we should do? We should get some beers to go, fill up our growlers. So I bought a growler, filled that up, and bought like 2 12-packs of beer. And we go back to his house, and we started drinking it. I think it was probably like noon, give or take. Made it back to my in-laws' house probably around 6:30 that night, so that's a good 6 hours of nothing but drinking. Get back to the house, and I finish off the 12-pack. I finish off the growler. I throw up, Don't remember much of the night after that, but I was checking in all the beers I had on Untapped because I bought 24 of them, and Untapped basically told me I had a problem. I was a heavyweight after
Time to
one
slow
day.
down.
Yes, and most people don't drink that
Whoa,
much
whoa, whoa.
in a week, apparently. So, thanks to Bohemian, I found a new love for lagers. I really hated lagers, I guess is the overall point.
Yeah.
I hated lagers because I never really found one. I always knew lagers as like Budweiser, which, as we know now, is a Pilsner. Even though it's listed as the true American lager. But no, yeah, I really like Viennese. It's a great solid beer, easy to drink. And I'm just going to shut up for a minute.
So if you guys don't know much about Bohemian, we can give you a little history lesson because like I was saying, we are big fans and we've been
Yes.
in there a lot. So pretty cool history involved in that place. The couple that opened it, or the family that opened it, actually moved here from Czech in like the 1980s,
Yeah.
early 1980 or something like
I
that.
want to say you said like 1986 or something like that, or
I think
1980
it was
maybe?
1980. Yeah.
Okay, so 1980. So before we were even born, they moved.
Yeah. And both of them had a lot of history in brewing and restaurants, and so they opened up their first restaurant named after it was Joe and Helena. What's it?
Petzel?
I
I wrote.
forget now.
I wrote Petrus because that's what I thought you said.
Petra. Yeah, that's
Petra.
right.
I don't know how to
Petra.
spell
It's
it,
down
so
here.
I
What
guess.
does it say?
I wrote Petra.
Petras. Yeah.
Petrus. Okay. Is it P-E-T?
As much as we like them, we can't remember their
Like
names.
Tetris.
We just know. We all knew him as
We
Joe,
know
though.
Joe.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, like Tetris. Exactly. The
Tetris
game.
for Petrus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Tetris.
They opened a restaurant named Helena's, which is his wife's name, and they ran that restaurant for a few years. And Joe, just being the lover of beer that he was like, I just want to have my own brewery. I want a brewery. And so they opened up a brew pub in a location that was deemed cursed because several other breweries had run there and
So
had
was it
failed.
Avalanche and what was the other one?
I don't remember.
Started with a B.
Yeah,
But-
it's in the book.
Yeah.
Back page or two.
No.
Yeah,
All right,
too
I'm
much
gonna do
work.
it. No, I'm not. I think we're still recording. Yep, we're good.
Should be.
We're good. So we're still recording.
But yeah, they opened up the Bohemian Brewery.
Wait, but
You know.
the location that he opened was also the same place that he bought his first fishing license.
Yeah, when they first moved.
You're probably
in
gonna say that,
1980, Yeah, that's all right. Gotta touch back on stuff, it's cool.
I'll touch your back.
Thanks, bud. And they've been running strong since 2001
Yep.
when they opened their doors for business. And really running strong. They just keep growing bigger and bigger every time I go down there. They've added more tanks and
Yeah.
more shit in their brewery.
So speaking of the tanks, I want to interject if I may. When we did the tour, this was really neat, and I hadn't seen this before. Out of all the other tours that we've done, or I've done rather, for their I don't remember if it was their lagering tanks. Well, they're all lagers, so I guess it is. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was a lagering. It wasn't the bright tanks. It had to be their lagering tanks. But they ran out of room as far as height goes because the tanks were so huge and they're making so much beer.
It was
Wasn't
a traditional style.
Oh,
So
they
apparently,
tilted it.
traditionally, they were done
Oh,
on a horizontal
instead of the vertical.
way, and it took up more space. So that's why they don't have very many of them. But
Well, it took
that
up more
was
space,
the
but
way
they also
wanted
couldn't
to
put it
do
up either. So, yeah.
That's why they went with those.
I just got educated. I didn't know that was a traditional way.
Yeah,
I just remember him saying, I thought he said it because they couldn't fit them.
No, because they have a ton stand-in.
Oh, okay.
And they keep adding more of those. But the old traditional way is
So
they
there you
do
go.
all horizontal.
I think that's awesome.
But,
I mean, how many of them actually do that? I'd love to know.
yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. You were saying stuff and junk.
I don't.
So they just
Little
keep
more
growing. They're
history.
awesome. Yeah, a little history. So one of the nice things too that I didn't know until we read this awesome book that they apparently, if we had a weird discussion and we couldn't figure this out, but what we surmised is that they were the first brewery in Utah post-prohibition, post-prohibition, after the other one shut down, to do canning for their beers in 40 years. That's pretty amazing in my opinion, because you get a craft beer, it's usually a glass bottle, which, it's okay, don't get me wrong, but if you're going camping, hiking, fishing, you want something you can crush and, save the environment if you're a hippie, and if not, Still, littering sucks. Don't be a dick.
And that was a big part of Joe's whole plan was, that's why he picked a canning system. Because everybody else, all the truists and purists or whatever they call them, are wanting, it's got to be out of glass. You can't put it in aluminum. Because like I was saying, sometimes you get that tinny flavor out
weird,
of the beer.
Yeah.
But Joe was like, no, we live in Utah. Everybody here is hikers, campers, skiers.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we do revolves around this outdoor lifestyle. Not everybody, but
most of them.
Yeah.
You ever try taking a glass bottle up to snowboard or ski? It's a pain in the ass. I've done it. It
breaks,
sucks.
It sucks. Or
and then what do you do with it?
What do you do with it? After you drink this bottle, you still have this heavy bottle.
You can't bury it in snow. You really can't. That
so
is
you got to
packed.
throw it back in your backpack. Now you have this breakable device that still weighs almost as much as it did before.
So dumb.
With an aluminum can, you finish that beer, you crush it up, throw it back in your bag.
You're done.
It's super light. You don't even notice it's there anymore.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is to do a good hike and have a summit beer.
Yes.
The summit beer is one of the
hit
best
it and
things.
sit there, drink it, enjoy the view. Yeah, man.
Sink it in, it just sinks in.
Yeah. Well, the same as like riding the motorcycle. So that's another thing. We all ride motorcycles. You want a road beer? You gonna take glass? No. You're a dumbass if you take glass on a motorcycle ride. I'm pretty sure it's a cardinal sin. I'm not Catholic, but I'm pretty sure it's a cardinal sin. So it's great. It's awesome. So what are some other history and some notable points? Oh, let's talk about Black Goat.
Yeah.
So, do you want to tell that? You know more about it than I do.
Let's talk about all their beers.
Yeah, let's do all of
give
this.
a little. So I pulled it up online because as much as I love them, I can never remember all the names and all the different ones they have.
Also, alcohol affects the memory.
It does. That's what
Badly.
they tell me.
Well, it's first of all, we've got these three that are right in front of us.
So they've, I guess, apparently in Czech, it was really standard for a pub to have 2 beers. That's it. And that was
Really?
Joe's original plan.
I didn't know that.
Was to just open up with 1 or 2 beers. That's all they'd have. Here's one style and here's another style.
Yes.
And I think one of his brewers that he brought on to help out or something was telling him, no, you got to have more than that. You got to have more. And he's like, no, traditionally we have this many. That's it. We have 1 beer, 2 beers at most, a dark and a light. That's it. And so they convinced him to go with 3. So big.
Against his better judgment.
Against what he wanted. But so his 3 main.
Podcast volume might get jacked up here just for a second. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to take it out of the case. My microphone was covered. I just realized that.
Hopefully we get some audio out of that.
We can splice it. I'm sure there's a way. Okay.
But so his first and original one was the 1842 Czech Pilsner Lager.
Which is a good beer. I'm not a huge fan of Pilsners, but there's a few that are really great, and that's one of them. Solid. It doesn't taste like nickels.
And then the 1841 Viennese Amber Lager, which is the one we're drinking.
So what we got here.
It's a delicious beer.
It is fantastic. Great mouthfeel.
And then
super delicious.
My favorite from Bohemian is the Cherny Bach Schwarz beer.
Right here. It's bad glare, but we'll get in.
And then my wife's favorite, which is the Noble Hefeweizen.
Don't have that one.
Yeah, they don't. I don't think they can.
I don't. I think it's only at the brewery.
Only on tap. Yeah. And then they have a Bavarian Weiss beer. And now they've just recently started doing some high points. So they have I'm going to butcher these names probably. The Dortmunder Export Lager.
How do you say that?
Just Dortmunder. It's
just with a better accent.
Yeah, it's an accent.
Dortmunder.
That's a 6%. And then they have the Dusseldorfer Alt Beer, which is a 5.3%. And then if you ever go into the brewery, they have the Brewer's Stash, which are their small batch and seasonal beers.
GD phone.
I think they're always coming out with some pretty awesome seasonal beers.
Oh man, their seasonals are insane.
Their Oktoberfest that they had going out for the fall out here was amazing.
It's fantastic.
Great
There's
beer.
spring beer. I can't remember the name of it, but it'll get you drunk, bitch. God damn. It got me hammered, and I only had 2 of them. I'm borderline alcoholic. And that beer was good, man. It was 12%. It was insane. It's good.
Sound like Mark. I swear this beer is 12%, man.
It's gotta be.
Dude, it's 5.
Fucking
It's
hobbit. So, by the way, this is not safe for work. Just probably throw that in the middle of our spiel here. So, no,
Well, it'll be in the description.
possibly, maybe not. So, yeah, they make a lot of great beers, and we don't have all of them, unfortunately. Our goal is to bring in their head brewer and talk with him, which we do know him. Debo and Neff know him a lot better than any of us do in the club. And we said his name, Brian. Brian Erickson is his name. That guy seriously is insanely intelligent when it comes to beer. A little bit of background on him, and you can find this on their website. And I didn't know this until we met him, and he talked a little bit about it. He started in the winery business, which is really cool. I don't know if you remember that or not.
I remember him saying that.
Yeah, he started out making wine, I think, out in Northern California, if I remember correctly.
I thought he was from Wyoming.
Well, he may be from there, but he at a point in time, he was in California. He didn't say that, but on their web bio, it talked about him because I kept trying to find his email address. Which, by the way, Bohemian, give a contact link somewhere to get in touch with you guys. That's another complaint I have. But yeah, Brian is insanely smart when it comes to making beer, and all the beer. If you've been drinking Bohemian beer, I don't know when he joined the crew, so I can't say for sure, but I know at least from 2013 and onward, he's been the guy doing it, and he does an outstanding job. The whole staff at Bohemian is just great. I've been to a lot of brew pubs, and I know we all have, but everybody that's there drinks their beer. They know their beer. I've never had anybody tell me a bad recommendation or anything negative about their beer if they work there. So they're good folk. I like them a lot. Good job. Pete, his son, Joe. So Joe passed away.
Yeah, Joe passed away a few years back, which is
sad.
Really sad. He was an awesome guy, and I do some work for the brewery there in my normal day job, and when you were dealing with Joe, he would push his beer on you. Like,
Hey, you here to do some work? Have you tried our beer?
Yeah. When my boss delivered the equipment to him, he was like, brought out the beer and was like, "Which one's your favorite?" He's like, "I don't know. Truthfully, I haven't had your beer yet." "Oh man, you gotta try our beer. Here, let me pour you one for all of them." And,
You want to pull?
I got some.
Well, I know you.
Okay.
Trying to get gorgeous drunk. I want to see him get naked. Anyway.
It's been a while.
So he brings out all the different beers and is like, "Here, start trying them." He's like, "Dude, I gotta work. I gotta install this equipment for you." Don't worry about it. We all gotta work. Drink some beer. And like,
there's 24 hours in a day.
So he had to sample all the beers. He was like, "Oh, that one, I like that one. That one's good." And so he brought him like a big old glass of it, set it down by his workstation, and would come back and check on him, make sure the beer was still full. And awesome guy, just great, friendly dude, and would always want everybody drinking his beer. One of my favorite stories about him and their beer is he wanted to name their black lager,
which I just opened. We're not reviewing it, but
the
it
Black
was in front
Goat.
of me.
And when he was trying to do this, his advising committee told him that that might not be so good to name something the Black Goat here in Utah. Cause,
Why would that be?
The Mormons might think that
Those
the Black
Mormons.
Goat has something to do with the devil, would be considered evil. And so, to stick it to the man, he named it Chernybach, which stands for Black Goat.
But also, which is funny about that, and it even mentioned it in the book, is that Mormons are against anything alcohol related.
Right.
So it's great
Doesn't
because
really
it's a double
matter.
backstab.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's alcohol. We'll allow it, I guess. But you can't call it Black Goat. Well, fuck you. I'm going to call it the Chernybach. My hat is off to you, good sir.
Yes, sir.
That's amazing. And so after Pete died, Joe, his son Pete, yeah. Kind of have been drinking since about 5 this afternoon, give or take. So anyway, what's nice about Joe and the restaurant, unfortunately, not unfortunately, but it's really his legacy is his son Pete, if I remember correctly, and what we reviewed and researched is he created the logo. Is that what we had determined? So Pete came up with this. We'll get a zoom in on it later. It's a really nice lion, and that was his son. And if you've ever been to the Bohemian up on the second floor If you haven't been to the Bohemian on the second floor, do that.
Go up there.
Because that entire Vespa collection, I was wrong. I thought it was Joe. I thought he just loved Vespas. It's his son Pete.
Yeah, apparently it's his personal collection.
Yeah.
Put
And
it
there's
all on
some.
display.
I'm not a Vespa fan, but they're nice looking. Actually,
There's
they're
some
not
pretty
bad.
cool,
Yeah.
weird looking Vespas.
Yeah. So here's
interesting
another
scooters.
story about Brian that I like. This is when, before we really knew Brian and before Brian really knew us, we did our beer competition at the Bohemian.
Oh, yeah.
And we got a solid C. It was amazing. We entered our Hefeweizen in a lager competition. And we got a C. That's not bad. We won in our division because we made our own. What was nice was we get up there and they had already done their tasting and their reviews, and we're there for the I guess the award. I don't know how you would call that. And Brian really didn't know. I mean, maybe he recognized you. I don't know, but he came up to us.
I think that was after the.
No, it was before.
Was it before?
That was before we did it
it was. Yeah.
because that was in because it was a Lagerfest, so that was in February, and we did the tour later that year. But I don't know if we just looked like some sweet dudes who like beer, or he was just that nice and did it to everybody. I doubt it.
No, I think
But-
he knew who we were. at that
Yeah,
point,
he was aware of us somehow, and he just walks up to us. And in Utah, you have to buy beer; it can't be gifted to you. It's stupid. It's Utah. But he just walks up to us. Hey, do you guys want a drink? Sure. Hands us a pitcher full of fucking beer.
Yeah.
This is awesome. This is for you guys. All right, awesome. So four or five of us, I think, sat down and just drank beer while everybody got an award but us. And then after that, he came back and talked to us for a minute, and then he was gone, like a fart in the wind. But that guy is awesome, man. I love that guy.
Yeah.
He's
Great
stupid knowledgeable, man.
Yeah, Neff and I went in there for Neff's birthday last year and just happened to run into him. We were sitting
Nice.
at the bar having a beer, and he saw us and was like, "Oh, hey guys, what are you doing?" You know, we're in work uniforms, of course, so he really recognizes us.
Yeah, you here to
We're
work
outside,
outside,
man. And ended up buying like our first 2 rounds or
Nice.
something, and you know, I was taking Neff out for his birthday, and Brian took care of the bill. Like, oh, thanks, man.
And that's another nice thing too. I love about Brian. Every time I've been in there since that tour, if he's there, he still remembers me. Big. He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh hey, Al. Oh yeah, Al. Yeah. You're with Debo and Neff. Yep. Not right now, but I'm with him, and it's he doesn't take care of the bill, but he'll sit down and he'll just talk to me about anything, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
fine. I don't care if he doesn't pay for it. I'm a little jealous though.
Well, it was Neff's birthday.
I know.
He was being nice.
He's being cordial. But no, that's what's so great about the Bohemian is
Yeah.
the staff. They
Good
get to know.
family,
Yeah.
friendly.
They love you. They take care of you. It's awesome. It's a great place. They make great beer and their food. Oh my God, their food.
Oh, their food's so
Oh
good.
God, their food gives me such a food boner. Is that a thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I can make a food baby out of their food.
Foodgasm.
Foodgasm. Their food
Culinary
is amazing,
boner.
and that's so. We talked about the beer. The Bohemian beer is fantastic. It's very true to the Czech roots, but so is their menu. Their
Oh, yeah.
food is insanely good and very traditional. I love it. And they also have some non-traditional.
Pierogies and
Oh man, the
brats
furries and brats. They got the best sauerkraut.
spatzel and yeah.
Oh man, the rosemary garlic fries.
Oh, garlic fries.
I hate rosemary, but I'll
Dreams about
drink
those
there or
garlic
eat
fries.
theirs. Wet dreams. Oh man. And if you're in Utah, their fry sauce. I don't like fry sauce, but I'll eat theirs.
It's aioli.
That's
why
what it
it's
is.
different. Garlic aioli, man. That shit.
It's-
and it's spicy.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a
Oh,
bite
man.
to it. It's not.
So
Yeah.
good.
Their food is insane. So
It's
I
like,
definitely.
anybody can give you like recommendations on like what would pair well too.
Oh, yeah.
and, like,
And if they're not
They're
around
good.
and you're looking at the menu, they have that right on the menu, and I
Yeah.
think it's spot on. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's never a disappointment. So, kudos to you, Bohemian. Great job. Beer's fantastic. I love the flavors. Honestly, there's not I really don't think I've had a beer from Bohemian that I don't like.
So did we ever really? We didn't really talk about the actual flavors of the.
No,
Viennese
let's talk
itself.
about it. We have one more can. You want
Yeah.
to take it and
Yeah.
swap spit? Make out. We need to do a video with Cricket.
yeah, we need cricket in here.
Rickety Cricket.
So Al's our our brewmaster. Al's got the most experience in brewing as far as our
Brewing
group
now
goes.
for 12 years, I think.
12? That was
Yeah,
13
12.
now.
Hey,
Is
you're
it
in the
13?
double
It was 10
digits.
when we first started brewing together.
Maybe just
And it's been
13.
3 years for me. So I think you've got to be 13.
It'll be 13 this year. This year marks 13. No, next year marks 13. Because I didn't start until I was 21. And next year will be 13 years.
You're old.
Older than all of you. I'm the oldest motherfucker in this building. So I've been brewing for 12, 13 years, give or take. My parents started making beer when I was about 9, I think, in Russellville, Kentucky. And if you don't know where it is, you're not missing much. Pretty small-ass town full of rednecks and racist people.
Racists.
Racist, rapist.
Racist.
I'm a grapist. I'm gonna grape you. And so my parents, that's how I got my start. My parents started brewing when I was kind of young, and I didn't know what they were doing. And Mom, if you're watching this, my first beer was one of your Michelobs that you left on the counter. So thank you. So that happened. But then we moved to Utah, and it was a little bit more evident to me. I knew what they were doing, and my parents they didn't really heavily involve me, but it was my dad, before the yeast got added, just like, here, you can try this, have it. And I don't care what you say, Dad, if you're watching this, you did that, because it tasted horrible as a kid. It was sweet and gross, and I hated it. I was getting excited to be beer. No, it wasn't beer. And so that's how I got my start. Yeah, straight up sugar. Diabetes. And that's how I got my start. And I got my parents' original kit, brew and extract, and then I went to all grain. And the rest, they say, is history. It's been fantastic. And then I moved back, and Devin and I reconnected after I got back. Sorry, Debo. He's Debo. And I'll let Debo talk while I take a sip, and I'll think of some notes to say about this.
Al kept telling me about all these beers he made. You know, I was a river guide, so I drank a lot of beer, but mostly
was it really beer?
beer. Mostly, cheap, light, cold, anything you can drink in 120-degree weather.
Not a craft beer,
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Not craft beer,
No.
not at all. Like Bud Light or water.
The Natty Daddy. Water.
Yeah.
Alcoholic water.
Yeah. But Al kept telling me about all these flavors, and I did like craft beer. I drank all the local brews here, and I've been to a couple of breweries in Arizona, and had some favorites of the heavier stuff, but it was mostly like, no, I drink cheap light beer like Bud Light and PBR, random shit.
Anything that was easy to drink and cheap. I mean,
Yeah.
you're a river guy. You weren't making enough money to buy the craft beer.
That's where I got this sexy figure from, was all that beer. But he'd tell me, oh, yeah, I make this chocolate peanut butter stout. And it's like, what the fuck?
Why would you put those two together in a beer?
What are you? And then he moved back and kept telling me, dude, I make beer. And I'm like, dude, I would love to learn how to make beer. So he's like, come over one time. I'll let you know anytime I'm brewing. And so finally
And I
started
did.
showing up.
It took you a while. You're resistant. But I always get what I want.
Joined him for a couple of brews and then was like, man, this is awesome. And my wife and I were planning our wedding, and it's like, dude, it'd be great to have some beer on tap. It's like, well, let's make a batch. So we found this West Coast Red Ale
by Northern Brewer. That's
Yeah.
where it came from.
And we deemed it the Red Wedding.
Because he's a Stark.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
And that keg was empty by the end of the wedding. Like we had,
it was.
Yeah, we had 4 kegs of beer. We had
Big
two
kegs.
2 homebrew kegs, and then 2. I had a big Bud Light and a Shock Top.
Yeah, Shock Top.
But I thought all these river guides are going to crush this beer. No, they started drinking that Red Wedding and the chocolate peanut butter stout, and we're like, this is the shit. And after that, I was like, dude, I'm in. I'm sold.
Yeah.
So he got me, he actually handed down a lot of his equipment, bought me a couple of new things, and that was my wedding gift, was a whole brew kit. And shortly after that, the Bearded Brewers were formed.
Yep.
We started this club, and
We're now in our 3rd year.
Shit, yeah.
February will be 3 years. March.
Would be
March will be the official third party.
Third party, 4th year.
4th year. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Sheesh.
So.
Or,
no, it's the
it
third.
is
It is the
only
third.
yeah.
Yeah, because the green shirt is the second, and
Yeah.
the gray shirt also was made for the second, and the white shirt was made for the first.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And it was after my wedding.
Yeah,
I
almost
been
immediately
married for 3
thereafter,
years,
yeah.
so.
Wow.
Crazy.
This
Now it's
guy
on the
actually,
gorgeous.
just joined
So,
us there at the beginning too.
Yeah, pretty
He's an
close. to the
OG.
beginning. It was so at the time I was dating Devin's sister-in-law.
Baby
And
tits.
and then I got introduced to these guys, to these
You got introduced to a bunch of fuckheads.
a bunch of crazy ass guys that are brewing beer, and I used to be Mormon back in the day. Those days.
The days of sobriety, not loving life.
And so
Well, to the fullest.
The first time I had a beer was at an Oktoberfest at Snowbird,
Nice.
it was like 2015, I think. And
Wow. So you were still fresh at that point.
Yeah, I was very, very fresh.
Because we met you in 2015, I think,
Yeah.
actually. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So it was shortly thereafter.
Wow.
So one of the first beers I had was a Hefeweizen from I think it was the apricot hef actually.
Oh, by Wasatch.
From Wasatch, yeah. That was I think the first beer that I really had. It was an entire stein of it.
I don't like that beer at all.
It was
so I'm
okay.
impressed
No,
you drink
it
a
was
whole
okay.
stein. I hate that
Because I was
beer,
like,
actually.
This is what beer is, I guess. Okay. So I guess
I don't even know.
I bought it, so I guess I'd have to finish it. So I finished that, and then
I have to finish it. I didn't want to, but I had to.
It was okay, It was Oktoberfest, 'tis the season.
When in Rome.
After spending 2 years in Germany and not getting a touch
Right,
of beer.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
he would have got sent home if he
as an LDS Mormon missionary, I served in Germany. So I was 2 years in Berlin and Hamburg and all sorts of cities around there.
I believe
Never
it's pronounced
tasted.
hamburger.
It's Hamburger.
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 Hamburger. Hamburger.
But yeah, and so
You're
shortly
stupid.
thereafter, I met you guys. I mean, I was very, very much in an experimental phase still, with beers and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so apparently these are all different. So,
Educate me.
I mean, one of my favorite things to do would be to go to the liquor store and just pick up a 6-pack of 6 different beers.
Yeah.
And
I remember that's how I was when I first started with
Yeah,
craft beer. It was the same way. Different beer every time.
absolutely.
That's how you learn.
And so you learn the different types and stuff. It was amazing. And then I met you guys, and then I tasted some chocolate peanut butter stout.
That's my beer, by the way. I found out later that it was apparently a kit that you can buy.
Oh, really?
I thought I was the originator of that because I thought to myself, no, there's got to be a way because I love Reese's peanut butter cups and I love beer. I have to infuse them. And I thought I came up with my own recipe. And I mean, I did. I did, but apparently I was not the first. I was not the OG. I interrupted, sorry.
But no,
more.
that chocolate peanut butter stout, it was like what roped me in.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I love beer. I need to make it with you.
I have to do these things.
Exactly. And so even though I long since moved away from the sister-in-law,
Don't even
have
talk
these
about it.
lifelong friends, buddies.
All the feels. All the feels.
Aw.
So now that we've gone through our histories, we've all sampled this again. I'm gonna have another sip. Almost dropped it.
So
It's a
good.
great beer. I love it because it's sweet and very caramel-like flavor to it. It's rich in body. And what's nice about this lager, and I've had my share of lagers now. Most lagers, when I drink them, it kind of changes flavor. There's not a consistency to it. But with everything by Bohemian, it's constant from the time you put it to your nose and you get it. And on the mouthfeel and the body and the finish. It's all the same. And that's what I love about it. It's very proper for us. It's
Such a douche.
you dumb dick.
You beer snob.
It's a solid flavor from start to finish. That's what I love about this particular one. And again, all of them. But the Viennese is nice because it starts out really, like I said, sweet and caramel flavors to it. It's malty, but not like a malt liquor that you get with some of these other lagers that are very high point. And this is I think 4%. I think
4%. Standard Utah.
Yeah, standard Utah lager. It's great, and the mouthfeel it's not. Yeah. So the mouthfeel, you can argue all day and night, and I'm an asshole, and I'm going to argue my point. And if you don't like it, I don't care.
It's our podcast.
Exactly. If you don't like it, don't fucking listen or watch it. But what I
do though.
But seriously, do. But what I really like about it is that it's not a heavy beer. And I said in the beginning is when you drink it, you feel. I mean, you get that heaviness, but it's not so much that you can't drink 12 of these in a good day. And it's a great beer, solid beer. I'll let somebody else talk.
I feel like you've covered it, man.
Yeah. That's why I'm the brewmaster.
Yeah. Not much to say after that.
So what do you not like about that beer? There's got to be something, because I have something, and I'll talk about it later.
I don't know if there's like a point of the beer that I don't like. It's not my favorite beer, but most, I don't know, the Viennese lager is not my favorite. Like that's just not the flavors I like.
Right.
But all around, as the style is, I think it's a great, easy, drinkable beer. I don't know. Yeah, it's
easy, light. It's refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
Has that caramely flavor to it, that maltiness too, and
I want a little more flavor in a beer, so that's why it's not my favorite. But
that's my complaint.
Yeah,
the flavor's there, but it's not a flavor punch you in the mouth. Like,
but I feel like
that's what I expect from a lager.
Yeah,
personally,
I feel like that's probably true to this though. Like,
it very well might be, and maybe that's
why I like their Cherney Bock, is it's a deeper.
The Cherney Bock really is, which is again what I'm
more flavorful
mixing with my Edward Williams. Some of that
mixed. Or just
have some.
Oh,
I don't mean mix it.
That's
mixed another cardinal sin.
Whiskey in here?
Wait, you don't? But it's still a cardinal sin.
Man, I got hooked on Boilermakers once for like a weekend.
I was hooked for a day.
It's probably
maybe two.
More like a week. I was drinking a shit, like Boilermakers were my thing. I thought it was the shit. I was drinking like Bud Light and a fucking shot of whiskey in it. I thought it was amazing. And then I got the swine flu. And I don't think I can ever do that again.
That's what happens when you fuck pigs. You shouldn't do it.
Spent a weekend in Denver and flew home with the swine flu. Dude. It was like, I can never have another shot of whiskey and beer. And on a plane.
Yeah. Well, sitting there tight and gross. I feel nauseous.
Hungover, sick.
Yeah.
Don't do that. It's awful.
So more about. So what were your thoughts?
Yeah. As far as flavor and stuff goes, exactly the same. You know.
Yeah.
It's very light, very refreshing, caramely, good.
Good.
I wouldn't say. I wouldn't say great.
Yeah.
My flavor profile.
Flavor profile.
My flavor profile. Personally, I think is a little bit probably closer to Devin's, where I want a little bit more flavor, a little bit more kick, something that's.
Well, when you drink a beer, you want it to taste good, and you want to be able to taste those flavors,
right.
and that's where I do think the Viennese is lacking a little bit. Is the flavor's there, but it's not high enough. You don't get some of those notes that I think they're trying to hit.
See, and one thing that I think of as well is when you're pairing it with food and stuff like that.
Are we doing on time?
Oh, we're good.
If you're
We're going at 48 minutes. 46.
If you're wanting to have this beer with your meal, you want it to accompany it. You don't want it to overpower your meal.
Right.
So in that aspect, I think that this would go great with a meal. But if you're just chilling, kicking it with friends and stuff, I probably wouldn't go with. Well, I mean, it's good. I would go with it, but I mean.
Obviously, we sat here and drank.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you're by yourself, I think it's a beer you can have. But if you're hanging out with your buddies, just drinking it, I know I agree. I think it's one of those. It's easy to drink, but it's hard to drink if you're going for a flavorful beer. Yeah.
Right.
And I will say that
as a standalone, it's a little bit weak and puny.
Puny goody beer. But is it better than the apricot heft that you first had?
Yes.
But absolutely.
If you were to pair this with food, I think it'd be great.
Oh no,
Yeah,
and it's great paired with food. Brats and
That's
pierogies,
so
that's my
I
go-to
think
beer.
that would be
Absolutely.
awesome.
And it does pair very well with food. Absolutely, I agree with you on that.
Because you're looking for some flavor, but not something that's like clashing with your food.
Right.
Yeah.
A nice
Mesh.
harmony, a melody, if you will, of beer and food flavors.
Exactly.
Make a baby,
Exactly.
food baby in your belly, and then you poop it out, and you abort it. I'm going to hell.
Food
I
baby.
already know.
Food baby. Goodbye.
So overall,
So,
if you had to put a star on this beer, and we'll say 3 stars.
Or what are we rating it on? Beer, just in general, or as a Viennese lager?
I would say beer in general, because really, how many Viennese lagers are there that we know about? We know there's a few Mexican versions of the Viennese lager, the Vienna, and then actually I just know the Vienna and the Viennese, so I don't know of any others. So I would say beer in general.
Out of 5 stars? Sorry.
I said 3, but let's do 5.
3.
Let's
keep
do
on going
5.
back
Do
in
it
my
5
head
star,
to like a 1 out of 10. So, yeah, so
I think 5 is a good rating.
Yes.
I think I'd give it a 3.5.
Probably 3.
I would say 3. I mean, yeah, 3 is good.
Right.
Solid beer. I'll come back to it.
3 1/4.
Yeah.
3 1/4. 3 1/2. 3 1/4.
So then that way it
whatever.
averages so that all 3 of us have 3 1/4.
So we've been running now for 49 minutes, almost 50. We have about 40 minutes left on our podcast because that's what we're limited to. Do we want to just keep rolling and just see what happens, or cut it? Also, we can edit that part out.
You're loving to point things out.
I'm a dick like that.
I think we can cut it here and
All right.
go on with another one.
Yeah, no,
So-
we will. So let's wrap her up.
Yeah. Any closing statements about this beer, Braden?
Good.
Gorgeous George.
If I were to summarize it in one word, it would be good.
Good. It's good.
It is good.
It's good beer. I'll never say
I mean,
no
it's
to
a-
Viennese.
It's kind
Yeah.
of a go-to. You know, it's solid.
Easy
It's
go-to.
good. It's light.
Easy to
flavor
pronounce. It's one word.
Yeah.
Viennese. You don't have to say the lager. You can just say Viennese.
Yeah.
So, Debo, any closing thoughts then?
That's what
No.
my closing thoughts.
Well, I thought I had to say your
So
name. I
Never
don't.
say no to a Viennese.
Okay. So my closing thoughts would be pretty much the same. It's a good beer. You guys knocked it out of the park, even though I gave it a 3. But it is consistent. I've never had a bad one, and it was my first Utah beer. So good work, good job, Bohemian. Love you.
keep making great beer for us to drink.
Yeah, you keep doing you, and one day we'll have Brian on here. We will convince him to
Yes.
show up, and we will have an epic
We may have to
conversation.
go to him. We'll.
That's fine. Have camera, we'll travel.
Yeah.
I don't give a
If we got to
damn.
record in the
We'll travel
brewery,
from
we'll
here.
do it, man.
Oh man, that'd be nice. A little tour of the brewery, get a little GoPro. You got a GoPro, don't you?
No.
No, the Hobbit has a GoPro.
Yes.
We'll get the Hobbit. We'll take the
On his
Hobbit.
camera. Or on his helmet. Yeah, on his camera.
He'll
Gotta
have,
go
to wear,
right on his camera.
he'll have to wear his helmet. the
Yeah.
whole tour, you know,
That's fine.
so.
He'll fit right in. So overall, great beer. I think the consistency is we'll give it a. You said 3.5 and 2 3, so I think the average would be 3 1/4, as you mentioned.
Exactly.
But that's 3 cans up right there.
Yeah, that is
I mean,
3 cans up. Definitely, mine's empty. So empty. Cheers. That's not a Viennese, but whatever. And so you have that. So thank you again for watching and listening. We appreciate it. Again, this is first edition. We love you, even though we don't know you. And send us anything that you want us to review. And any comments you have, go ahead and add them. We probably won't read them because I think Debo said, like Joe Rogan says,
Most comments are stupid.
don't pay attention to the comments. We're just going to keep doing it.
Haters are gonna hate.
Hate. And lovers are going to love us.
That's right. If you want to contact us, email us at beardedbrewersbc@gmail.com.
I don't know why brewers is such a hard word for me. You say it so
Brewers.
easily.
You
But I get
bearded brewers.
Brewers.
Bearded brewers.
Bearded Brewers.
The Roger.
BC. Bearded Brewers.
Roger.
So anyway, what's our email? I fucked it up.
Bearded
Brewers,
Brewers
BC.
BC @gmail.com.
Yes.
Or we are on Facebook and Instagram. I
Yep.
don't remember our Facebook page. I think it's Bearded Brewers
I think so, too.
SLC, or
Do you
could
remember?
be just Bearded Brewers.
You're
Just Bearded
social
Brewers.
media manager. So.
And our
And-
Instagram.
And
man.
Instagram is bearded.brewers.
There you go.
So,
Bearded.brewers.
Bearded.brewers
Check
for
us
Instagram.
out. Follow us. Give us
Hashtag
a
Bearded
like.
Brewers.
And we can edit it out if Devin doesn't like it, but we do hold a party every year around St. Patrick's Day. If you're lucky enough, we'll throw you an invite. But don't be a douchebag, because fuck you.
We got enough of those.
We have enough of
Next to
those.
neighbors.
Yeah. God, that's why that beer is called Fuck Your Neighbor. So with that, thanks a lot. We love you. I'm Al.
Debo.
Gorgeous George.
Have a good one.
Thanks for tuning in.